Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
We're now going to talk about Paul Pogba, and we never do that, so let's do some more of it. We are now looking like he's about to stay, because a couple of weeks ago it looked as if Paul Pogba would be off to PSG, with Lionel Messi potentially going over there. That's probably shortens that chance because, you know, wage budgets and things like that. So it looks like he's going to stay. Now, number one, it's a good thing because if Paul Pogba's in your team, you're a better team. Oh, I've lagged. I'm back. It's a good thing because Paul Pogba in your team makes you a better team. However, there is also the risk that, you know, you're letting him run out his contract, and when he gets to January, he can start speaking to other clubs. Now, how do you guys feel about that? Is it a massive gamble that we're making here, or do you feel confident that maybe he might sign a deal, or we could get him gone in January? What are we thinking?
I can jump in first on this because you just knew this was happening, didn't you? And the club have got a part to blame in this. Pogba's got a part to blame in this. His agent's got a part to blame in this. We're being held to ransom by a player that doesn't want to be here, and the only reason he's staying is because PSG can't go because they're going all out for Messi. Let's be honest. They still might get him next year, but it's ridiculous that the club firstly have allowed a player with decent market value to come down to his last year of his contract and go, well, I might stay, I might not. Let's see how the season goes. I cannot believe we're in this situation with him. So that's firstly on the club. From Pogba's side, now, I get it. He wants to move. He's wanted to move for whatever. But my issue with him, even if he signed a contract, say before the Euros, next summer his agent or his brother or even him might have been out in the media again saying, "Oh, I want a new challenge," because that's the kind of player he is. He'll be wanting to move every single year, regardless. In my opinion, I would like to have seen him gone this summer and replaced. That's not going to happen now. I don't think it looks like he is going to stay. But why? My issue with it is why is he staying? I think he's only staying because nobody else will have him. Personally, I don't think he actually wants to stay. Now, if he performs well, we said this kind of thing actually after the Burnley game when Pogba was on that kind of 8-game run and we just went top of the league. I had no issue with it because it seemed like there was some agreement with the club. Give your all, you can move in the summer.
Yeah,
that's obviously now not going to happen. If Pogba does it this time, we're losing him on a free. There's no transfer fee at the end. So yes, he might perform well for 10 games or so, and it might end up in a trophy or something at the end of it. But is it worth it? That's the question. Is it worth it to lose him on a free next year? Because his market value is still quite high. You know, he's in the prime of his career. Many clubs, PSG, if Madrid had the money and so on, would pay that kind of fee. So I don't know if it's worth it. But for me, it's those three things. His agent, Pogba, has to take some blame, but ultimately the club have to take the main blame for this, for letting it get to this stage in the first place.
Yeah, and just before anyone else jumps in, I think a big part of that as well is, you know, when we get to January and he could start speaking to other clubs, he might arrange a move in January and then he's got to play the rest of the season for United and he might not be asked by then. Teammates might be looking at him going, he's off in the summer. Why is he playing? And then all of a sudden you have that toxic situation again. That's what I'm worried about the most. Go on, you can carry on now.
Well, I was going to, do a couple of different points on the Pogba thing. The first one is, I always end up looking at stuff at the end of the day, especially with transfers and stuff, as like a business point of it. So, yeah, I agree the club should have dealt with it sooner rather than, and now it's going to end up, now it's later and it's too late. So now they waited too long and we're going to end up probably losing him for free. I put a lot on Raiola as well. That I fucking hate that guy. Like, there's not a lot of people I genuinely dislike, but like all the sports that I've watched between here in the States and in Europe, it's just I've never seen an agent with as big a mouth as him, and it's just it's a pain in the ass as a fan, I guess. But also from Pogba's point of view, I don't like how he's going about it, but also I think and if you look at some of the stuff he's done while he's at United as well. He's very much a marketing person. Like, he understands the business side of shit, and he understands how much of the marketing name and image he is, all the shit. I think, like, when Fortnite was at its height, he had, like, a player or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, he understands money and marketing. So we should have cashed in on him. I think one of the reasons outside of PSG not going for Messi was kind of the pandemic. We know how much we wanted for him on top of how much he wanted to get paid. So I think even clubs that wanted him couldn't afford him. So yeah, I think unfortunately we're going to get shot in the foot with this one. We're going to lose him on a free. And you said if he wins a trophy, is it worth it? Depends on the trophy. If he wins the FA Cup, I know you guys love the FA Cup, but like if that's the trophy, it's not that worth it. Shit, he ends up winning the Premier League and he leaves. Okay, thanks for the trophy. Fuck off.
That's an interesting point you've just made there, and I'd be interested to see what the live chat says. If Paul Pogba won as a trophy and then left on a free, how would you feel about that? That's an interesting question to raise. I quite like that one. For panel, what do you guys think?
I'll go next on the Pogba thing, though. If he did say something for like the FA Cup, for example, and he does ride off into the sunset wherever he's going, it'll just be for me. Thank you, Mr. Pogba. Cheers for the FA Cup. All the best for your future. You know, I still think somehow, in the back of my mind, somehow this could play into United's hands a little bit as well. With Messi going to PSG, there's not a lot of clubs that will be able to afford his astronomical wages. Remember, we're still in the height of COVID, and a lot of football teams are struggling. You look at your Juventus, your Inters, your Real Madrid, your Barcelonas, they're all struggling financially. So you've got to think of what club would Paul Pogba like to see himself play at as well. It's only going to be one of the oil teams that's going to be able to afford his wages, I think. You know, if he's knocking back what Manchester United are giving him, if it's true that they're quoting him 400k plus whatever it may be, and he's knocking that back for a bigger payday, where's he seeing himself at? He's far too young to be going to China. He's far too young to be going to America. You know, so it only leaves City or PSG that can really probably afford his wages. By the sounds of it, PSG fans are not overly happy on the idea of having Paul Pogba play for them. Whereas yesterday, I know again it's only pre-season friendly, but the loudest cheer of the warm-up, so when the players' names got read out, as they went through the substitutes, was Paul Pogba's name. So I don't know. It's a strange one. I think the club have got to take responsibility, though. I mean, which idiots let him run down his contract this far? Seriously, if he was looking to get rid of Paul Pogba, it should have been done last season. You know what I mean? So you still get possibly your maximum value for him. Now he's entering his last year, and as you said, he's free to talk to other clubs in January. Either we lose him for 45, 50, 60 million tops now, or we lose him for an absolute free next season, or next summer. Either way, it's a huge loss to Manchester United. Either way, we've lost out. If he does leave, we've lost out financially, because if we'd have sold him 2-3 seasons ago when his contract was at its highest ceiling, we could have got that transfer fee, a massive chunk in there, that could have gone on to maybe bring 2 or 3 in. But you're looking at today's value in the market, 45, 50 million, will only buy you a one player in, whereas you'd have got maybe near the 80 to 90 million mark that we paid for him 2 or 3 years ago. We could have maybe held for that ceiling and maybe bought in 2 players on top of that. But now you're looking at maybe 1 player that you could bring in off his fee alone. So that's even if we do sell him this summer. We allow it. It's all in Paul Pogba's court, though. The ball is firmly in his court, and that's the way Paul Pogba, I think, wanted it all along.
That's how Raiola wants it.
Yeah, how Raiola wants it also, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You mentioned how the clubs run it. I find it interesting, and Fred Woodward's phrased this pretty well, saying, that they should have sold him last year or give him a deadline to sign this summer. I find it funny that they've done that with Axel, saying you can go out on loan if you sign a new deal, but they can't do it with the players that are probably worth more. And I don't get that. Brown Knight's in the comments. He said that he's contracted with us till next summer. Get the best out of him while he's here. Get trophies in. Shake hands and wish him all the best. Now, on paper that sounds fine, but is that possible? Is Is it feasible? Is it even good for our PR? What does that say about a club like Manchester United if you like that? You know what I mean? And I'm just wondering, again, I'd love to know what you guys think in terms of what trophy that has to be. Charlie, is there a specific trophy does it have to be the league? And that's the only way you'd say, okay, yeah, you can go for free.
Well, I mean, this Paul Pogba situation, it's just that it sort of portrays what's been happening at the club. We've got people at the top of the club not knowing what football is. They don't understand the game. If you look at the way that I know Chelsea run their club, and I know we're not Chelsea, but I think they sent out Guehi on loan, and now he's been sold to Crystal Palace for 20 million, and we can't even get that for Lingard, who's had a stellar season.
Yeah.
So it's just, we seem to handle these players very badly. And it's not looking good in terms of the players, getting rid of players that we don't want. We can't even get Brandon Williams away. We can't get rid of, Jones, Pereira, Lingard. So yeah, the Pogba situation, I would have hoped that we could have sold him this summer. I've got a 50 million fee for him and then invested that in another midfielder. But obviously keeping him for another year does heighten our chances of winning a trophy. I think that the biggest trophy, I think the best chance we've got is to win the Champions League. I really do. If you actually look at the state of the Champions League, PSG and Bayern, of course, but other than that, any other European teams other than English teams, you'd fancy us to we should at least get to the quarters. And I think our setup suits the Champions League. I think our squad. I think we've got more chance of winning the Champions League than we have the Premier League. So yeah, I really do think I wish Pogba would have gone, not for the benefit of Man United, but for the benefit of his own career, and it would have brought in a fee, which we could have obviously invested in another midfield player. But obviously,
so what you're saying is, if Paul Pogba stays, we're winning the Champions League.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Football has a habit of shooting itself right in the foot. It really embarrasses itself right across the board, and unfortunately, the Messi situation is one of those. And Pogba's the second.
I was wondering where you're going then.
Yeah, well, Pogba is the second. You've got Messi, who, for whatever reason, is choosing the path of least resistance at PSG. Well, what's he going to add to PSG? What's he going to? He's going to kill their league. He's going to absolutely destroy their league.
Yeah, that's what he adds.
He doesn't. Nobody. What does he add? If you were the president of League On now, you would be seriously worried about where PSG will go and what it will do to the rest of the league. It's going to destroy the smaller teams in League On. Messi doesn't need to be anywhere near France. I'm not saying come to the Premier League, but he doesn't need to be anywhere near France. And these footballers, this is my whole point. These footballers are so far up their own fucking arses about them first and foremost. Yeah, about them first and foremost. And they don't give a flying fuck about the game as a whole. And this is the biggest problem. Anyway, my point being, if Messi got something about him, if Pogba got something about him, they look at maybe going and developing a team. Go and develop a team. Go and help a team develop. Go and help younger players develop. Give something actually back to the game that has put millions and millions and millions of dollars in your fucking pocket. Don't go and line your pocket with more because you don't need it.
Can I just jump in quickly? This might actually be a question for you. So there's two issues here. One is with Pogba and his, like you said there, developing a team. He's seen Sancho come in. He's seen Varane come in. He obviously gets on with Oli. He clearly gets on with the players as well. What's annoyed me about Pogba's side, I'll go on to the club in a minute, is why has he not looked in? Gone, right, this team could go places. I'm not really wanted. Madrid can't get me anymore, or it seems. PSG fans, as Benny said, don't really like him over there. He doesn't really want to go there.
What you've just said is my exact point.
Yeah, so why would he not choose to stay? But there's the other side, which is the club side. Now, if you look at it as a business, and Stu, you'll understand, you're a business guy. As a business, Pogba is an asset to Manchester United because of the transfer, the fees that he could bring in if you sold that asset. No other business would let that asset hold you to ransom and then potentially lose that, let's say, between 50 and 80 million pound asset for free the summer after. Like, I can't remember, somebody said in the comments earlier on, it either should have been sold last year or given a deadline this year and go, well, if you're not going to sign, then you're going. So I don't know any other business in the world, forget football, that lets their assets hold them to ransom. It's just ridiculous. So there's two sides to it. There's Pogba's side and there's the club side.
There is, but the problem is, as soon as football allowed players to become multimillionaires, they fuck themselves right in the foot. And people have got to understand this. They've made a huge mistake by making players multimillionaires overnight. You can play for Watford, sign a 5-year contract. If you've got anything about you, you can retire after 5 years in football today. You can retire after 3 years in football if you've got anything about you, any kind of financial nous. And the problem is, he's got so much money. He will always dictate to our clubs, and players will dictate to clubs right across the board. Lukaku's dictating to Inter Milan now. I want to go to Chelsea. Sell me. It's happening all over football. And somewhere along the line, a club has got to make a stand. They've got to make a statement, and they've got to, make players more accountable than what they are. Now, whether clubs run rightly or wrongly, I get your point, Connie. You're absolutely right.
But this is to everybody. If Pogba were to be sold next week, what transfer fee do you think we would get for him? This is, obviously 1 year left on his contract. What kind of fee do you reckon we would get for him this summer?
I'll go first. If we sold next week, he'd probably go for 40 mil. That's about it. Benny?
50 to 60.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think United still high up for top prize.
Yeah. Charlie?
About 45, between 40 and 50, I think.
Stu?
I think we'd get a Varane money for him, 38. 39.
Really?
Yeah, plus 5, plus add-ons. Okay. I think we get Varane money.
Interesting. Hammer?
Nah, I think United would try to fuck somebody over.
I love it. 80 million. Go on.
No, I was gonna be like 70 max because of the I feel like they were gonna try to get somebody to pay it.
And that's probably why he won't be sold. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.